Hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive. Today we're going to be exploring something that could totally change the game in AI, and that is budget forcing.
Yeah.
You know those huge language models like the
Yeah.
ones OpenAI keeps putting out?
Yeah.
They're powerful,
Oh, they're
so
just.
expensive and complex to build.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what if there was a way for smaller models
Right.
to kind of punch above their weight class
Yeah.
and compete with those AI giants?
That's exactly what's so interesting about this idea of budget forcing.
I like it already.
Yeah.
So where did this idea even come from?
Well, researchers have been experimenting with this new model called S132B.
Okay.
And it's actually built on an existing model called Quen. But what makes it really interesting is how it's trained.
Okay.
You see, instead of just feeding it tons and tons of data,
Right.
they took a very specific set of around 1,000 reasoning problems
Okay.
and fine-tuned it on just those.
So almost like a crash course in logic.
Yeah, exactly.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So they've streamlined the training,
Right.
but how does this budget forcing actually work?
Well,
It sounds kind of like a financial strategy.
it's a good analogy
Yeah.
because imagine the model's working on a problem,
Okay.
say a tough math equation.
Mm-hmm.
If it tries to just jump to a solution too quickly,
Right.
budget forcing kind of steps in and says, hold on, not so fast.
Oh.
I'm not giving you your full computational budget yet.
Okay.
You need to show me you've thought about more possibilities.
So you're kind of forcing the model to wait
Exactly.
and think deeper
Yeah.
before it spits out an answer.
Yeah, basically like saying to a student, don't just guess.
Right.
Show your work.
Exactly. Don't just give me the answer. Show me how you got there.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
And what's so cool is that just this simple weight prompt
Yeah.
seems to make a huge difference in how accurate the model is.
Seriously.
Yeah.
How big of a difference are we talking?
Well, the researchers who worked on this, they're saying that with this budget forcing,
Yeah.
this model can outperform some of OpenAI's models
Right.
on really challenging benchmarks like AIM.
And AIM, remind me.
That's like a high school level math competition.
Oh, wow.
So, pretty tough stuff.
Yeah, that's a big deal, especially considering that this S132B,
Right.
it's so much smaller
It's way smaller.
and less resource intensive.
Exactly.
This is almost too good to be true.
Right.
Is this some AI magic trick? How is this actually happening?
Yeah, so that's where independent evaluation is so important.
Okay.
We got to verify these claims
Yeah.
and make sure we're not just seeing smoke and mirrors here.
So did someone bring in a panel of skeptical mathematicians
Well,
to double check all this?
not quite,
Okay.
but they did a really thorough evaluation.
Right.
And the first thing they wanted to do was rule out any cheating.
Oh, okay.
Right. So they needed to make sure that this model didn't somehow memorize the answers from the test set.
Yeah, that makes sense. You'd be testing its memory and not its actual ability.
Exactly. If a student snuck a peek at the answer key,
Right.
it wouldn't be a real measure of their understanding.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
how did they check for that? Did they give the model a lie detector test?
Well, it was more like a digital fingerprint comparison.
Okay.
They used this tool called Weave, and they compared the problems in the AM test set
Yeah.
to the problems that the model was trained on.
Got it.
And the good news is they didn't find any overlap.
Oh, that's great.
So we can be pretty confident that this model wasn't just spitting out memorized answers.
No cheating detected.
Yeah.
All right. So what was the next step in this AI interrogation?
So next, they really wanted to understand how much of the model's performance
Yeah.
was actually due to its underlying architecture.
So the Quinn model that it's built on?
Exactly.
Okay.
Versus how much was due to the budget forcing itself.
So almost
Yeah.
with a star athlete, is it their natural talent or their training?
Yeah,
That got
they
them.
got them there.
That's a good way to put it.
So was this Quen model already good at math before they added the budget forcing?
It was decent.
Okay.
It got around 50% accuracy on the AM test,
Okay.
which isn't bad,
Yeah.
but it's nowhere near the level of performance they saw with the budget forcing.
Right.
So that tells us that the training and those weight prompts
Mm-hmm.
are really key to boosting the model's reasoning ability.
Okay, so we know there's no cheating happening.
Right.
The base model isn't solely responsible for this crazy good performance.
Yeah.
But how do we know for sure it's the budget forcing that's making the difference?
Right. So for that, they did pretty much a head-to-head competition.
Oh, okay.
They ran the model once with budget forcing
Okay,
and then again without it.
got it.
And they kept everything else exactly the same.
So it's like a scientific control?
Yeah, it let them isolate just the impact of those weight prompts.
I like it.
and see if that was really the key. Awesome. So it's like we've got a real AI showdown happening here.
Right.
But who was the judge of this?
So to make sure it was all fair.
Yeah.
Especially with math, where there can be,
multiple ways to get to the right answer.
Lots of ways to write the right answer.
Yeah.
They actually used another AI model called GPT-4 as the scorer.
Oh, okay.
So you can think of it as like a totally unbiased judge.
Got it.
Just checking if the answers make sense.
That's a good idea.
Regardless of how they're written.
All right. I'm on the edge of my seat. Did budget forcing live up to all the hype?
Well, this is where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
You might want to buckle up for this one. Okay, so the model with budget forcing, it actually scored a pretty impressive 66.7% accuracy.
66.7.
Yeah.
Whoa. That's not just like a little bit better?
Right.
That's a huge leap.
Yeah, it's a big improvement.
Okay, but what about the version without the budget forcing?
Yeah.
Did it even finish the test?
Oh, it finished,
Right.
but without those weight prompts.
Yeah.
Its accuracy dropped down to 53.3%.
Okay.
Which is still, not terrible.
Yeah, respectable.
But yeah, it really shows that the budget forcing is doing something.
That's like the secret sauce.
Yeah, it's making a difference for sure.
So we're talking about like a 13% increase just from telling the model to slow down and think it?
Right.
It's incredible. It's like we're unlocking some hidden potential
Yeah.
just by like changing the way we interact with it.
Yeah, I know. It's pretty wild.
But wait a minute.
Yeah.
You mentioned that the model with budget forcing actually did even better
Oh, yeah.
than what the original research said.
That's right.
How is that even possible?
I know, it's kind of surprising.
Yeah.
So the initial research said it was around 56.7% accuracy.
Okay.
But in this independent evaluation, it actually performed even better.
It's like it learned more than it was supposed to or something.
Yeah, like it exceeded expectations.
That's so cool.
It is.
Okay, but before we get too carried away celebrating this, how did it stack up against like the really big AI models?
Oh, right.
The heavy hitters.
So they actually included a model called O3 Mini in the evaluation.
Okay.
And they ran it with this special, like, high reasoning setting.
Oh, wow. So they're like putting it in the AI equivalent of a brain gym.
Exactly.
I like it.
And they also tested another really powerful model called DeepSeek R1.
Okay.
So these are some of the top performers out there.
So like the best of the best.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, so how did our little underdog with budget forcing do against these champs?
Well, they did really well.
Okay.
But O3 Mini ended up taking the lead with an accuracy of 86.7%.
Wow.
And DeepSeek R1 wasn't far behind at 76.7%.
Okay, so even with budget forcing,
Yeah.
S132B couldn't quite reach the top.
Right.
But it sounds like it gave them a run for their money.
Oh, absolutely.
It was a close race.
Yeah, and you have to remember, we're
Yeah.
still talking about a much smaller and more efficient model.
Right.
So the fact that it got so close is pretty impressive.
It's like David and Goliath, but with AI.
I like that analogy.
So it's really cool that this like little tweak
Right.
can make such a big difference in performance.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable.
But this evaluation wasn't just about like comparing scores, right?
No, it wasn't.
We got to see how these models were actually thinking.
That's right.
Tell me more about that.
So that's where Weave comes in.
Yeah.
Remember, it's not just a tool for evaluation. It also has this really powerful dashboard where you can actually visualize and analyze the whole process.
So we can like see into the AI's mind.
Well, not quite mind reading, but it's pretty close.
I like it.
You can see, you can compare the outputs of different models side by side.
Okay.
So you can see where they agree, where they disagree, and even where they make mistakes.
Interesting.
And you can filter the results based on all sorts of criteria.
Cool.
But most importantly, you can actually trace the inputs and outputs at every step of the reasoning process.
And so we can see exactly how it arrived at an answer.
Exactly.
That's amazing, especially for understanding why one model might be better than another.
Yeah, it's really helpful for that.
So it's like having a step-by-step breakdown of the model's logic.
Yeah, that's a great way to think about it.
And in this case, it let the evaluator see exactly where that budget forcing made a difference.
Right.
So did they learn anything specific about how those weight prompts changed the model's behavior?
Yeah, they found that the model with budget forcing was way less likely to jump to conclusions.
Oh, interesting.
Those weight prompts really encouraged it to explore more possibilities before settling on a solution.
So it's not just about making it think longer.
Right.
It's about making it think more carefully.
Exactly. It became more methodical or deliberate.
So almost like it learned to double check its work.
Yeah, kind of like that.
That's fascinating.
And what's really interesting is
Yeah.
this goes way beyond just math problems.
Yeah.
If budget forcing can improve structured reasoning in general,
Right.
it could be useful for all kinds of tasks.
Like what?
Well, like coding,
Oh, yeah.
where a model might need to think through different algorithms or figure out errors,
Okay.
or even creative writing.
Interesting.
Imagine a model that doesn't just write the first thing that comes to mind,
Right.
but actually iterates and refines its style.
That would be awesome.
And really explores different ways to tell a story.
Yeah. So instead of AI just being a quick answer machine,
Right.
it becomes more of a thoughtful collaborator.
Yeah, I like that.
It's like we're teaching them to think more like us,
That's a great way to put it.
carefully considering different options and revising their work.
Yeah, and the more we understand these models,
Mhm.
the better we can design techniques like budget forcing to guide their development.
Okay.
This research is really just the beginning.
It really feels that way.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder what other simple but powerful tweaks are out there.
Who knows what else we'll discover?
This whole deep dive has been a huge aha moment for me.
Really?
Yeah. We started talking about how smaller AI models can't compete with the giants.
Right.
But now it seems like with clever tricks like budget forcing,
Yeah.
they actually could.
They might have a chance.
I'm starting to feel really optimistic about the future of AI development.
Yeah, me too. It's a really exciting time to be working in this field.
Absolutely. Who knows what amazing applications will come out of this,
I can't wait to see what happens next.
especially as these techniques become more refined and more
Man.
people start using them.
It's going to be interesting for sure.
But let's not forget the bigger picture here.
Okay.
This research suggests that we could be on the verge of a major breakthrough in AI.
Yeah.
If we can get these kinds of results with something as simple as budget forcing,
Right.
just imagine what's possible as these techniques evolve.
It's pretty mind-blowing when you think about it.
It is. And, you know, it's not just about pushing the limits of what AI can do. It's also about understanding how they think
Right.
and how we can work with them better
Exactly.
to unlock their full potential.
It's all about collaboration.
So where do we go from here? What are the next steps on this journey of AI exploration?
It feels like we're really onto something
I
here.
know, right?
We've talked about how budget forcing can help with math problems.
Yeah.
But like you said,
Mhm.
this could be applicable to so many other things.
What else could it unlock? I'm so curious.
Well, think about any task where careful reasoning is key
Okay.
and you need to explore different approaches.
Mm-hmm.
Budget forcing could be huge for something like coding,
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
where a model might have to consider different algorithms,
Right.
or even troubleshoot errors,
Okay.
or even creative writing.
Oh, wow.
Imagine a model that doesn't just write the first draft and call it a day,
Right.
but actually iterates and refines its style,
Yeah.
really explores different narrative paths.
So it's not just an answer machine anymore.
Right?
It's more like a thoughtful collaborator.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a pretty big shift.
It is.
It's like we're teaching these models to think more like humans.
Yes, that's a really good way to put it.
Carefully weighing options.
Yeah.
Revising their
Yeah.
work.
Mm-hmm.
That's so cool.
And the more we learn about these models,
Yeah.
the better we'll be able to design techniques like this to help them
Mhm.
develop.
Yeah, that makes sense.
This research is really just scratching the surface.
I feel that.
It makes you wonder
Yeah.
what other simple but powerful things are out there.
Waiting to be discovered.
Right.
This whole deep dive has been one big light bulb moment for me.
That's great.
We started out talking about how these smaller models can't keep up with the big ones.
Right.
But now it seems like maybe they can
Yeah.
with some clever tricks.
Like budget forcing,
Exactly.
it could level the playing field.
I'm honestly feeling pretty optimistic about the future of AI.
Yeah, me too.
It's a really exciting time to be in this field.
It-
Who knows what awesome new applications will come from all this?
I can't wait to find out.
As these techniques become more sophisticated
Yeah.
and more accessible.
It's going to be fascinating to watch.
But we can't lose sight of the big picture.
Okay.
This research suggests that we're on the brink of something huge in AI.
I agree.
If we can get these kinds of results with something as simple as budget forcing,
Right.
just imagine what's possible as things progress.
It's pretty incredible.
It is. And it's not just about pushing the limits of what AI can do.
Mm-hmm.
It's also about figuring out how they think
Yeah.
and how we can collaborate with them better
Exactly.
to really unleash their potential.
I think that's the key.
Well, that's a really inspiring note to end on.
I think so too.
Thanks for joining me on this deep dive.
It was my pleasure.
I'm feeling super optimistic about the future of AI.
Yeah, me too.
And I can't wait to see what incredible discoveries are ahead of us.
I think the best is yet to come.